Love has walked through the door. Mad respect has walked through the door. Hey, this is Southside Steve, and this is the Yeah Come On Show, brought to you by Oxygen Financial, with 2 locations in the Atlanta metro, one in Buckhead for all you Buckheadians, you know, again, driving the Beamers. And then for those of you outside the perimeter, might have a big truck or just a large house or more land than you know what to do with, we're up here in Milton in the Alpharetta Square. My co-host is Mr. Brett Barney, and the on-again, off-again Tyler Maynard, and across from me sits an individual that I competed against, that I have mad respect for, and that I grew to be friends with, and who I like. And the guy's really good at a couple of things, and we'll introduce him in 1 second. He's good. He's really good at like 3 things that I know of.
Sadly, he was right at a couple.
Just giving the
Being
love.
generous.
I am. But before we get started, I'll go to Brett Barney real quick. We got some housekeeping to do.
Yeah.
What quickly do the come-oners have to say? As I pour myself a drink, and we don't have a sponsor, and I will go to this particular guest later to find out if he has a liquor sponsor. Jesse James Dupree, you're on the fence. Woodford Reserve is on the fence. And, of course, Jack Daniels, as always. We're just looking for somebody that will bring the liquid and the cheddar. Thank you.
All right, come-oner Matthew Thompson commented, Steve's wife is cheating on him with her yoga instructor. She is probably doing it during these god-awful podcasts. I think that guy is spot on. And Tucker Fowler, another come-oner, wrote, freaking White Claws, Brett?
Yeah, that is a Puss in Boots beer.
Come on, baby. That's not even a beer.
I'm popping Coca-Cola, baby. Putting it on some Jack. That's what you do.
Although I'm just for Tucker Fowler.
Yeah, you know what, Tucker Fowler? Let me tell you right now, I just talked to my wife, and she's putting my son down. That's what she's doing.
No, that was Matthew Thompson.
Well, Matthew Thompson.
Now you're just getting confused.
Look, screw both of you.
I'm excited for this show. Let's get to the guest.
All right, we're ready to get to the guest. I just want to introduce this guest. By the fact, the come-oners, you're getting what you wanted, negativity, for literally 17 weeks.
I've been asking for negativity. It used to be so
it's
positive,
coming already,
and now
yeah.
we're finally getting it.
For 17 weeks, we had nothing but people 5 feet up our ass, and then you got to do what you just did. Oh, yeah, let's get some complaints. Here they come. Today's guest is another icon of Atlanta radio. Although he started on the big screen, he ended up behind a microphone in Atlanta for decades. Yes, I battled this guy for listeners for over a decade. He's now single-handedly solving Atlanta's homeless problem by helping people find their dream home. Please welcome Jimmy Barrett.
Wow. I haven't heard this music. I think this is the second time I've heard this music in 12 years.
Really?
This was our theme song. It was the theme from The Naked Gun. And when we did a reunion show in October of 2017 or 16, we did a 20-year reunion show. They played it. But when I hear that music, I get very tingly.
What did it bring it back for you,
It
babe?
is. It's really cool.
You know, and your radio background, I think, goes back further than mine. I started, I was on album 88, and then, you know, everybody got incensed on 88 when a radio station called 99X got started, and they're like, they're stealing our music, man. These people are selling out. And my exact words were, I'm like, yeah, dude, this is great. We could actually maybe get hired by these guys and get a job. I'm like, am I the only one that wants to work in radio here?
That's so funny because we used to also, we kind of made fun of those people that you're talking about who were, you know, very high and mighty about the purity. The worst thing a band could do would get popular, right?
Yes. Don't get popular,
Don't
man.
get popular.
Don't make money.
Right.
What are you
Sell
doing?
out.
Don't
You're
sell
selling
out. Don't sell out. I hate them. They're playing on 99X now, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the second you were played on 99X, you know, like Tori Amos came in, and I'm like, well, this is fantastic. They're like, so why are you on 99X? I mean, why did you make that move?
Right. And wasn't the legend that who was it? Boomtown Rats who wrote "I Don't Like Mondays" at album 88.
Ooh, that could be the case. If it is, I'm not aware of it, but I've heard rumor. That's funny. I know the song, not Boomtown Rats, though. I don't remember that.
Wasn't it Boomtown Rats who did?
You're looking at
I
the
don't
wrong
like
person.
Mondays.
I was
I don't like
not alive.
Mondays. So the story is that they were like in a waiting room there, or they were waiting to go on, and that was written at Album 88.
Wow.
That was the story. Nobody ever refuted it.
A lot of people had pads out. You'd walk in. Dude, I came in like a young Republican. I'm sitting there in Tommy Hilfiger, the one with his shirt where it's blue here, red here, green on the back, and I'm wearing khakis and loafers, penny loafers. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to apply to get in. And I'm looking around, and everybody looks like The Cure. I'm like, they hate me. They hate me. And I just hounded them, but finally I got a gig, and I did it. So I enjoyed that. And then that's how I got into interning at 96 Rock, and then got on 96 Rock. But I went to my first morning show boot camp as I became the producer for Christopher and the Wake Up Crew. And there you are, and I'm finding out that's the Morning X. And the way they wore back then, you know how it was. We were enemies. It's like we should go rumble behind the Swiss Hotel. And that's when I got started. But I think you've been in radio before then, correct?
I got into radio. My first full-time gig was like 1990.
Okay.
So I don't know, when was yours?
My first time full-time was 95. I was weekends before that. But you had a resume. I knew that you were an on-air kind of producer type. And the word was, Jimmy's got a killer black book. Like, he can get some guests. He knows some famous people.
I was resourceful. If I did anything well as a producer, I was resourceful. And as you know, the key to producing a radio show is not only being resourceful, but being able to convince people to, why should they come on the show? Why should they give you an interview? Why should they donate this to the show?
Sure.
I mean, that's really what it is. But it's funny, you're telling your story. See, you were smarter than I was, because
I don't know about that.
No, because
you got paid well.
That's the first time that's been that's a drop.
Hey, can you keep that? Jimmy said I was smarter.
Yeah, that'll come back. Because I had to be convinced to come to 99X, because my background was always classic rock. I worked for KGB in San Diego, which is like a heritage classic.
Like, what? KGB?
KGB is a heritage classic rock station in San Diego, and then I went to it's gone now, but it was 97.1 something in Chicago, classic rock station. So then I get this call to come to 99X, this alternative rock station. And my image of that audience, of an alternative audience, was exactly what you said. Like, they all look like The Cure.
Yeah,
they're like,
totally.
And I'm like, I don't know, I can't relate.
Not my kind of people.
Yeah, I can't relate to these. What am I? We got nothing in common. I'm going to fail there. And Brian Phillips, who now runs Cumulus Broadcasting, but at the time was the program director at 99X.
Yeah, he's my guy now.
He's like, look, don't worry about that. Forget about that. Just all we want is a good morning show. Let us worry about who the audience is. You do what you do. And he was right.
Well, how did you bounce? In San Diego, anybody's ever been there, that is one of the nicest places to be.
Awesome.
The weather, everything. I could stay there.
Right.
That is a city I think I could definitely live in.
It's a tough town to leave.
Yeah, I would imagine. So why did you leave? Well, how did you end up from there to Chicago?
Because as a producer, there's always a ceiling. You'd
hit it.
Yeah, and as a producer, you're only going to make a certain amount. I mean, and you're going to stay kind of in that position for the rest of your career. You're never going to be on the air. And I had an opportunity to go produce a show for a guy by the name of Jonathan Brandmeier in Chicago at the Loop. And I grew up listening to the Loop. And the Loop is another one of those heritage, legendary stations. Jonathan Brandmeier is, at the time, was one of the biggest radio shows in the country.
Yeah, the Loop just died not even a year ago.
Right.
It just now went down. That's a shame.
Right. So, I mean, it was like the opportunity to produce a show for Brandmeier, especially, and then go back to Chicago where my family was. You don't turn that down. Now, it turned out to be horrible. I mean, he was the worst guy you could. I mean, he was one of the five.
You're such a dick. Why did you bring me out here?
He was
Take me back to San Diego.
Yeah, and he may be a nice guy now, but at the time, he was easily one of the 5 worst people I'd ever met. And
I know one of those guys.
Yeah, I'm sure. Oh,
really? We know. He might be okay to you, but what to me?
So you just can't. You gotta take that opportunity, because even if it doesn't work out, you're on this bigger stage now. You've got this credit. It lasted a year and a half, and it didn't work out, but it enabled me to get the gig down here.
Well, you know, when you come to Atlanta, a lot of people don't realize that Jimmy Barron, not just an air personality, but a fine actor. I mean, you were out there. You're on the scene. You're in San Diego. I mean, you obviously did some L.A. time.
Well, I was in L.A. for 11 years. I was only in San Diego for 2.
All right, so L.A., where were you born? Chicago?
Chicago, yeah.
So you're born in Chicago. What brought you to L.A.?
I wanted to be a stuntman. Right. That was my.
Jimmy, I love you. What are you kidding?
Right. That was my parents' reaction too when I said that. I wanted
That is great.
Because you know most upper middle class Jewish kids in the North Shore of Chicago end up as stuntmen.
That's awesome.
So I went out there.
You're like, you know, man, I could see me getting thrown from stuff.
So I'll tell you why. Because I was in love with the movie Hooper.
Dude, touch me.
The same
me. Touch
movie.
me and touch Jimmy.
Is that movie great?
Dude, the world's greatest stuntman, Burt Reynolds,
Right.
my hero.
I know he is. That's why I said that. Yeah.
God.
I mean, I love that movie.
Hooper was awesome, so that's what got you going.
And so
You wanted to put on ace bandages and wrap your ribs and go get it.
So I went out there, and I actually I got a gig as an extra. I met a stuntman out there. I walked into the Stuntmen's Association one day. It's like this. It's not a union. It's like a brotherhood of stuntmen. I walked in and met this guy who kind of took me under his wing. My parents were convinced he was a child predator because they said, Dad, I went to the Stuntmen's Association and I met this guy. What guy? His name is Denver. Well, how old is he? He's like in his 40s. Is he married? No, he lives by himself in an apartment. And
He's got a waterbed.
He's got a waterbed.
And a furry unicorn on the wall. This is a great guy.
So he got me into the extras union, and I was an extra. If you can see me in old episodes of Love Boat, like walking behind, walking.
Please give me the episodes. I would kill. I'm a fan.
I don't even know.
I'm so jealous. You know I'm a fantastic independent actor. I do some independent films, but you've been on the big screen, huh?
Nothing.
No porn. I never did porn. I could, but I didn't. No, but Jimmy, you were in one of my favorite movies. You were in Sure Thing.
I was in Sure Thing.
And John Cusack, and that movie to me is so awesome, like the whole road trip out there and everything. Do we have that scene of one Jimmy Barron in Sure Thing with John Cusack? And if you don't, I'll fire your ass. Actually,
Fired. Because I sent him a different one.
Yeah, it's called pre-production, Steve, and we do it.
All right, well, whatever. You can pull it up. Show me what you got. Jimmy's acted so many times.
Dude, I mean, the classic, the best one.
Your SATs are ready. Math 597, verbal 560. Correct me if my
Some
information
real internet
is
issues.
Well, yes, sir, but I was planning on taking those again.
Is it stuttery for you? Yeah,
all right.
Gonna have to cut. All right.
Now,
Keep
your
going.
grade point average is 3.14. Your class rank 52, which places you in the 84th percentile. Is that correct?
Here comes Jimmy.
Joe, listen, this is my cousin Ruben. He's from Skokie.
Jimmy.
You can get him in
Jimmy,
tonight?
not now, okay?
Joe, look, he's got to be back by 12 o'clock.
All right, later, guys.
All right.
You get a nice close-up there at the end.
Excuse me.
That's all stuttery.
Look, I'm going to tell you right now, I have never, as far as we've done this for 19 episodes of the Come On Show, I've never given a standing O, but
Please.
Well, yeah, let me join.
That performance definitely deserves
I'm going to tell you right now, that is one of the reasons when I found that out about you, I'm like, even if he's across the street, I got to love that guy. Because John Cusack, and you got, I mean,
I'll look that up, Sure Thing.
Please find the Sure Thing. But you got lines, dude. You were getting some SAG money. And you're sitting there with Tom Cruise in a movie that would make his career.
So how I got that was I had auditioned actually for his role.
Oh, nice.
And
I want it all,
I was
man.
going out on audition.
Going big, huh?
I had auditioned
Nice.
for the Tom Cruise role.
I want the whole thing.
I went 2 or 3 times to callbacks, and then I got a call from my agent at some point, and he said, "So listen, they were able to get this guy Tom Cruise, who had just come off of Taps, and what's that
Taps.
football movie that he was in?
The longest yard. No,
No,
not the longest yard. Hold on. Do the Right Thing? No.
Yeah, it was something like
Any
that.
Given
wasn't it?
Sunday.
No, not Do the Right Thing.
No, it's where he wore a yellow helmet and he's
Yeah.
running. He's dating the really hot chick
Yeah,
that
yeah,
plays
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, yeah.
saxophone. I got you.
So
All the
she
right
said-
moves.
All the right moves. That's right. So they said, they're casting him in the lead, and I'm like, well, can't argue with that. They said, but they did like you and they do want to include you in the movie. So they had given me the scene. The scene was written much longer, how it was originally written. When they sent me the script, I was like, this is cool because like I'm knocking on the window and he tells me no, and then the window breaks and it causes a whole deal. And it's like a 3-page scene.
Not
and I'm
bad.
Like, I'm down with this.
Dude.
I'm okay with this.
Yes.
And then I show up on the set and it's like, here's your 2 lines. You know, so they cut it. But of course, at the time, you don't know. I mean, this movie comes out to, and it turns out to be a generational movie, which is kind of cool.
But you've got to love that, sitting on your couch with whoever you're dating or whatever you're doing, or just the guys, and say, "Here I come, check me out." I mean, that is you have to.
So,
I'm so happy for you. I'm living through you on this.
So here's a great story, Tom Cruise story, though.
All right.
So fast forward maybe a year. And I had a guest starring role on an episode of The Facts of Life. Oh, nice. And it was shot at Universal Studios. And so I'm there, and at one of the studios next door, I had heard that they were shooting this movie called, I think it was called Nuts. It was with Sean Penn. So on lunch, I went over to the studio just to watch him. I thought it'd be cool to watch him shoot a Sean Penn movie. And I'm standing off to the side, and Tom Cruise is standing there. And he remembers me from a year earlier when we had done, because that little scene took 3 days.
I was going to ask you, how many takes? A lot of people don't realize that. Even in independent films, you shoot it 10 times. On this kind of film, how many takes do you remember?
I don't remember how many takes, but I can tell you it was 3 12-hour days. The director was very slow. There were 1 million takes, 1 million angles. It just took forever.
You're like, how many different ways do you want me to tap on the window, bro?
Now, what was good that you'll appreciate is that if you remember the scene, that takes place when he has that scene at that party at his parents' house, right, during the movie. Well, the extras from that scene were all local Chicago Playboy models, and so I had to share the same dressing room, which was that set was set up in a high school gymnasium. They built the set, and so the dressing room was the locker room for the gymnasium, so we all shared the same locker room.
So that set where we think you're outside of a house, you're inside a gym.
Well, inside the house is actually inside the gym. They used anyway. So Tom Cruise is standing next to me over at when I'm watching this, Sean Penn do this movie, and he recognizes me and he comes up to me. And we just start talking a little bit, and he's like, "Oh, what are you doing here, Jimmy?" And I said, "Well, I got a little guest starring thing over here next door at the next stage. I was doing The Facts of Life." And he's like, "Oh, that's cool. Maybe I'll come and watch." And I'm like, "Okay."
Maybe you will.
Yeah, maybe you will. Like, right, Tom Cruise.
It'd be really cool if you did, but whatever.
So it was a Thursday. We're taping that afternoon or that evening. And I'm on the set, and I'm doing the scene with Tootie and all the other girls.
Were you with Blair? Tell me you hit on Blair.
Not have a scene.
I mean, she's a holy roller from the Christian side. You're a good Jewish
Blair,
boy.
No, Blair, I met them all.
But as a Jewish guy, would you think she would have considered you being the super Christian girl? Because Blair's the one we want to know you something happened.
But see, everybody liked Joe, though.
See, I didn't see the Joe thing. I'm not in the tomboy. I was blaring out.
Were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, because, well...
But you did a scene with who? Tootie or Blair or Joe?
My scene was with one of the other co-stars and Tootie.
Okay.
Who is from Atlanta. Kim Fields from Atlanta. She's very nice.
Yes.
So I look out of the corner of my eye as we're taping this, and sure as crap, there's Tom Cruise, like behind the cameras off in the corner, watching the scene.
Can I pause for a second?
So cool.
You're listening to the Yeah Come On Show, brought to you by Oxygen Financial, and we have Jimmy Barron, who Tom Cruise is a fan of his acting ability.
Right.
Damn. Damn.
So I will. So anytime I hear people slam Tom Cruise and Scientology and he's an egomaniac,
he's gay. Who cares?
Who gives a crap?
Who cares? I don't give a damn.
I don't care. His movies are great.
Yeah, be gay, Tom. I still love you. I love Travolta, and there's rumors on that.
Who cares? Mission Impossible movies?
Stop it.
Awesome.
I need a Scientologist to love. Somebody throw me a name.
Yeah. I don't care.
Right.
So did you find the clip with the John Cusack shirt thing yet?
Well, it says guy at frat party, right? Is what you're
That's him.
That
listed as. I found a frat party scene, but it's going to take a while.
Okay.
All right, well, you let us know when you got it, and I will show you Jimmy Barron in a pivotal scene.
Do you have any guidance of where I could see your face?
Well, the scene was Anthony Edwards brings some. Well, The Sure Thing was about a guy who traveled all the way, like, cross
I just want to
country.
pause. He's done so many movies you can't even remember.
No,
I'll tell you the
it's-
scene.
It's
I'll tell you what
that
it's
my
about.
memory is not good.
No,
and I've
Jimmy.
only seen that movie maybe twice in my life.
I've seen it. I'm going to guess.
The Sure Thing?
40 times.
The Sure Thing?
And I celebrate
Yeah,
you
it's-
every
There's
time.
a stuttery clip.
Here it is. This
Yeah,
is
it
this
is
is
coming
Jimmy.
up.
It's coming up right here.
Is it? Oh,
I
wow.
think it
was-
is.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
God,
This
I
is
haven't
it's
seen
the house
that.
party when
Right.
he arrives in LA finally.
The internet's horrible.
Well, you know what? Damn it, I don't care. I will wait on this internet.
We need a hotspot up here.
Yeah.
You know, I'm with Verizon and Xfinity. I think Xfinity offers a hotspot. Xfinity.
Yeah, we can't.
I endorse
it's
you.
just stuttering so much.
Hey, can I
This is the scene.
This
Okay.
is it. This is it. If you can get it.
Yeah,
oh,
we can.
show me some Jimmy Barron.
I mean, I'll edit.
As this stutters through,
Yeah.
do you still talk to the guy from Risky Business that you're like, this is my cousin?
Ruben.
Do you even know who that
Yeah,
is?
he was just some extra.
Okay.
Yeah,
From
he was just
Skokie?
some guy. He like was funny looking, and they pulled him out of the pool of extras and said, "Here, you know."
That is so cool.
Stand here.
And you had an agent at the time, so you were. What are the checks? What kind of checks rolled in? All right,
Yeah,
get
this
ready.
is it.
Get ready, guys.
started at Santa.
Okay,
I
here it
guess,
comes.
yeah.
That's awesome. I love the sunglasses.
Yeah, here we come.
Here comes Jimmy Barron.
Private Gibson, incoming!
I remember your line.
Looking good. Glad you made it. Welcome to California, home of the waves and the babes. You know what I mean? Come on, I want you to meet some people, okay? Hey guys, this is Gib. The guy
Here
I
he
told you
comes.
about. Told you he'd make it. Hey, Gib, nice to meet you. 3,000 miles just to get laid, huh? Really respect that. Tonight is the night, Gib.
That's
Thank you.
great. That was worth it. That
Thank
was
you.
Dude, that was awesome. That was
you.
awesome.
Thank you, Tyler.
3,000 miles to get laid. I really respect that.
Right.
Dude, that's a great line. How many takes on that one, Jimmy?
I think I may have nailed that the first time.
You kill.
I may have had the skill, the chops.
Oh, real pro.
to nail that
What
the
took
first
longer, recording that or bringing it up?
time. That's right. I was in and out of
That's
my trailer
awesome.
in that amount of time.
Good Lord. So
Steve
you
knows all
were,
about that.
but you were living, where were you living then? Were you still in L.A.?
I lived in L.A. for 11 years, different parts of the valley, and had all kinds of jobs.
I was about to say, what kind of jobs did you do? Because this is prior to radio. You're trying to be a stunt man, but you're like becoming an actor of sorts.
Right, radio wasn't on my radar. I had I drove a cab, I drove a limousine, I was a dispatcher for a courier company,
Awesome.
dispatcher for a taxi company, and then I think that's about it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So you
That's-
could have invented Uber,
right,
dismissed the boat,
right,
could have invented
Right.
roadie.
right.
You have all the experience.
I know. I still know every street in L.A. like the back of my hand. What 100 block comes in with where. I could still give you directions to almost any place in L.A.
That's so
and I will
impressive.
occasionally still, when I'm talking about Roswell Road, accidentally call it Ventura Boulevard, even though I haven't lived there in 35 years.
But it comes out of your
It
mouth.
comes out right.
Dude, your career, again, we're talking with Jimmy Barron on the Yeah Come On show, and for many years, those of you that listened to the Morning X, you knew Jimmy, and it was Leslie and Barnes. With that show, all great shows have their issues, and, you're in a situation where, like me, I was with Christopher Rood and the Wake Up Crew, then they get rid of that show, then we get in a situation where we do the worst mistake we could have ever made. We brought in John Boy and Billy, and I localized the show, so I really learned to run a board, back timing and localizing it with Beth Keppel. We were the only two survivors, and then they killed the John Boy and Billy show, and then it was just the two of us on 96 Rock until we brought in the Regular Guys. And the Regular Guys was a show, but it had its issues. You had your one guy that you just knew he was just going to screw it up because he just wouldn't play right. It's like the lead singer in a rock band. You're like, dude, just be cool, On the Morning X, was there the guy that you're like, dude, just be cool, or did that thing just ride out the way it was supposed to and end the way it was supposed to?
I think the latter because, Bert Weiss told me this one time, and it's very insightful. Successful morning shows, really, when you think about it, are kind of designed to fail in the end because, what makes a good morning show? It's getting 2 or 3 people in a room together who all come at life from different angles and different points of view.
You're
right?
almost total opposites. I am a polar opposite to Bailey on Bailey and Southside, 100%.
Right. So, and it's a very intense relationship. You're sitting, much like we are right now, in a room for 4 hours a day, and you got to come up with 4 hours a day of content. So just like, think about a marriage. Like, how much fun would it be to be married to somebody who you disagree with on almost everything? Eventually, it's just going to run its course.
That would suck.
Right.
Oh, my God.
That's like most marriages.
Right.
Well,
so, I mean, it's one thing, opposites attract, and okay, fine. But you got to have some basic fundamental, similarities. So, Barnes and Leslie and I, and we're really great friends now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I get together with Barnes frequently. Leslie, Barnes and I, we went through a number of years where, we were not friends. And I'm not telling any tales. This is well documented. And, but now we get along great. We hook up for breakfast, maybe every 6 or 8 weeks. He's got an amazing business right now, so he's rarely in town. Leslie and I are great friends. But at the time, it was we just couldn't stand each other anymore.
Okay. I wondered how it went down because being opposite across the street from you guys had the music, you had the guest, everything that you were doing was what was popping in the world. And to be on as you know, because you came from a classic rock background, man, if you were playing classic rock, you were taking a hit. We had outside the perimeter, you had inside the perimeter.
Right.
And you would agree. And I was able to do promotions in Buckhead and try to make 96 Rock cool in Atlanta because of the role I played and who I was. But it was tough to compete against you guys on that level. In town you had a 10-year run that to me in my lifetime is uncomparable.
Well, what's funny about it, and you're right, at the time, we battled. And at the time, it probably wasn't good-natured from time to time.
No, it got a little rough.
I always liked you.
Okay.
And I always had a lot of respect for you. We would poke fun at each other.
Sure.
And
we did.
Because you wanted to be a stuntman.
But at the end of the day, though...
Well, we would rip each other on air.
Well, you were the stuntman on air. He wanted to be the stuntman. It makes sense.
Right. I was a stuntman.
At the end of the day, though, it was a lot of pro wrestling. There was a lot of pro wrestling when you really go back and think about it. And I am friends with Larry. Helped him find a house too. And
by the way, and we have a cigarette break coming up
Yeah.
where you get to plug yourself because we are sitting across from one of the most successful real estate guys. And if you want to buy or sell your house, I'm telling you right now, this is an honest man. Had my wife not had the realtor already and my in-laws in on it, I had already said I want Jimmy Barron to find our home.
I appreciate that. That's the tough thing about breaking into the real estate business. And everybody's either married to or has a friend who's a realtor. So anyway, so the show ran its course. And I guess the mistake probably that I made also was, and I've never really, I guess I never thought about it till recently, is, I was convinced that, Morning X ends, I'm Jimmy Barron. I get another gig, no problem.
I'm Jimmy Barron.
Who's not going to hire me?
Have you seen me in the movies? Risky business.
And it wasn't, it took me 3 more years and I got back on the air, on Dave FM, but in a different role that I was really never comfortable with because it's, as you know, it's different being the lead guy than the guy who just has to sit there and, think of funny things to say.
Well, yeah, exactly. I'm that guy. I look at my partner as a guy that plans things out. He's like a rancher, and I'm a gunslinger. I come in, and that's it. I do color, and I get ambushed every day, and I'm better if I'm ambushed than knowing what's going to happen.
Right. It's a whole different thing.
It's another deal.
Think of all the successful bands that broke up because the lead singer or the lead guitar guy thought he could do better as a solo artist, and they rarely does that really work out.
No, it doesn't. Outside of Steve Perry, I don't think there's ever been a success story.
Foo Fighters.
Well, but he didn't break out. He didn't have a choice.
This is your chance to play Oh Sherry. But no, you're right. He didn't have a choice because his lead singer blew his head off, or was he killed? A question we'll always ask ourselves.
Right. So
you knew him better than I did. You actually probably interviewed him. Yeah,
he was one of the great guys. I actually have a picture of him standing with my fiance at the time and me, and his hand is on her breast, like around her shoulder on
You're
her
like,
breast.
damn, man.
And she and I both thought that was cool as hell.
Yeah.
We were both on board with that.
Does that explain why you're not married anymore?
No. We were both on board with that.
That was cool.
No
Yeah.
hashtag me too.
No. That's the thing. Like now, you couldn't.
I know. Oh,
you couldn't
trust me,
get away
I
with
yell.
that. Right now,
Yeah.
you couldn't do that.
No. And also looking at your career, because I looked at it, so it's so cool for me to be sitting across from you. But when I guess I was out of work. I think you weren't doing radio, and I wasn't doing radio in 06. And I just said, out of all the people, I've never ever, because we did wrestling, I said, I hear nothing but good things about Jimmy Barron. Anybody that I knew that knew you said, man, he's cool. He's real cool. And I'm like, I called you and asked you to lunch. And then we went to lunch that first time we ever met.
Yeah.
And we ate the place right there off West Peachtree. Starts with an M. I can't even think of the place.
McDonald's?
No, hell no.
Anything off the dollar menu, Jimmy. You're the best.
You're such a dick, but that was a great line.
Yeah.
Mezzaluna? No, Mezzaluna.
That may have been it. Yeah,
maybe it was Mezzaluna, and we went and we talked, and I was like, man, I love this guy. So even though I haven't seen you in years, it's one of those things that I appreciate your career and what you did on 99X. And the person that we always heard was the tough person was Barnes. And I will tell you a story about Barnes. I'm in Buckhead. I'm on the air. He doesn't know it. And I'm my first year in radio, and I'm sitting there. We're at a bar in Buckhead, and they're about to do a promotion. And he's kind of like, I think it was Aunt Charlie's. And he was sitting there, and he's like, oh, God, okay, look, I've had a long day. Look, once this thing gets started, I don't feel like signing any autographs or taking any pictures. Just let's get through this, okay? And I heard him telling that to his tech. And I was like, what a dick. I'm like, what a dick. I'm like, dude, you should be glad when you're in radio to sign an autograph.
Right.
And for me, signing breast in the infield of Atlanta Motor Speedway where I was Jesus, the one place where that was my Buckhead for you. I was the man in the infield of Atlanta Motor Speedway. But I'm like, you should be so glad and so appreciative. And it just kind of caught me off guard. And I said to myself, I learned a lesson from him. I said, I will never be that guy.
Yeah, nobody should ever not sign an autograph. I mean, I remember hearing a story.
Do you still do it? Do people still recognize you as Jimmy Barron from the Morning X? They have to.
I do get that.
Because, dude, you were all over the air.
I get that. I get that. Most of my work now is on the phone with people. And, and at least a few times a week, somebody, another agent, or maybe an inspector, or probably somebody who is, not even a fan at the time, will say, wait a minute, I got, after we do our business, they'll say, I got one more question to ask you. And I know, are you? And I'm like, I used to be.
You still are.
Right.
You still are. You could do radio tomorrow.
And that's fun. And for me, and you'll see this soon, when it happens in front of your kid, and people recognize you and are complimentary to you, and it's in front of your kid, it's just, you just feel so cool.
Yeah.
It's really.
Well, you are a great father. I know that about you. You're also a religious individual, and I know that you are very loyal to your religion and your son. I hear those great things, and I think there's something to be said about that in your personality.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, you're like, I know you're Jewish, but you walk to synagogue, do you not?
I do.
And lights are off on the nights they're supposed to be off.
Yeah, I mean, I've probably
pretty
slipped.
spot on.
I've slipped in certain areas over the last couple of years, but I keep kosher, and I do. I don't drive on the Sabbath, and I walk to synagogue, and my son goes to the Atlanta Jewish Academy. Okay. Shout out there.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
How old is he now?
12.
Lord.
Just started studying for his bar mitzvah last week.
I love it. And,
yeah. Tears in my eyes.
Tears.
And because I see your posts and stuff, you're a crier when it comes to your son. Am I right?
He kills me.
And his wife.
I'm fine, honey. I love you so much. No, I will tell you. Yeah, he kills me. I can cry if I think about him.
Yeah.
Even for 30 seconds. It kills me.
We did one time years ago. We were at, I think it may have been boot camp.
Okay, morning show boot camp.
Boot camp, which is like a convention of morning show people.
And this is where morning show people get together, and people like Jimmy can run. People that have been in the industry and successful run these like little what do you call them?
We just do
Workshops.
sessions.
Workshops.
No, just sessions.
And sessions, and people come in that are in radio, especially new to it, and boot camp moves around, usually in Chicago, Atlanta, but that's just something that morning show radio guys do once a year.
Right. In fact, the guy who runs it, Don Anthony, who kind of lives near here, he called me not long ago, and he said, "Hey, come on, hang out down here." I haven't been to radio in 10 years. He's like, "Hey, Jimmy, why don't you come say hi to the old people? Why don't you come down and maybe talk a little bit?" And I said, Don, I'll come to morning show boot camp if I can do a session on how to get out of radio.
How do you do it?
Huh?
There is life after, right?
It's tough to do, but you got,
It is a skill set, and for you, when you're out of radio, then you turn to real estate. And did you know that's where you were going to go?
No idea. I had started. In fact, I was on the regular guys. I had started this little business after radio decided they didn't want me anymore because I got fired 2 days before my 50th birthday at Dave FM. And at the time, I remember it was a punch in the gut.
Sure.
But I remember thinking to myself, not real long thereafter, as much as it sucks getting fired 2 days before your 50th birthday, it doesn't suck as much as getting fired 2 days before your 60th birthday.
True.
And
they
if I
gave you a chance.
So if I stay in this business, especially in rock radio, I mean, there's no way I'll be. And I don't want to move to St. Louis, and I don't want to from there go to Cincinnati and there to Dayton, whatever, because I got a kid here.
You love Atlanta. You want to stay in
Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Would never be one. I know guys in radio who pick up and move away from their kids so that they can, and then fly back. Oh, I see them once a month. Really? Could you imagine that? Could you see your kid once a month?
No, I didn't get in it for that. I'm 24.
Right.
I'm a lot like you. Like I said, I've heard incredible things about what a fantastic father. People that know you speak very highly of, like, you are there always.
Well, that's one of the things I like about what I do for a living now is that it enables me to do that. So I started this video business where I would interview people's parents and do like these video autobiographies. They would tell their life stories, and we'd put together like a 2-hour videotape, put in old pictures, and so at the end of the day, you had like this video autobiography of grandma or whatever, and it was fine.
Yeah.
I didn't really enjoy doing it very much, and it was hard to monetize, and it was work that I didn't. I don't want to sit in front of a computer screen and edit video all day. That's just not me. And my mom said to me, "Why don't you go get your real estate license?" And I said, "Mom, do not ever say that to me again."
That's the last time I want to hear that.
That's exactly what. That is the worst idea you have ever had. I'm not selling real estate. I'm not putting on a suit to go to work, which is what I do every day now.
Do you wear a tie or no?
Oh yeah, I wear a suit and tie. Yeah.
Boom, you're on it.
I mean, I finally when it's 95 degrees in July, I'll take the tie
little
off.
open collar
I'll
action.
take the tie off.
I want to thank you too, Jimmy, for being the first guest on the Come On show that doesn't drink while you're working. And mad respect. Another reason
I'm not a drinker. Not a drinker. Never been.
Really?
Yep, never been a drinker.
Did you do anything else?
No.
I don't want to dig too deep.
No, never did. Never did drugs. Never had any desire to.
What gets you off? Money?
Well, I'll tell you what. It's funny. You were talking about White Claw.
See Donald Trump?
I don't know how Jimmy votes, and we won't get into it.
Okay, not that way. But
finally, some like-minded company.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
But I will drink on vacation a girly, fruity tropical drink.
God bless you. Like a little pina colada.
Pina colada or a strawberry daiquiri or something. There we go.
Pina colada energy drink. That's what I've been drinking.
Okay, I didn't know they made such a thing. We were in Costa Rica. My son and I were in Costa Rica this summer, and he saw me order a pina colada, and he turned to me and he's like, "Well, Daddy, I've never seen you drink alcohol before," and I felt like crap.
Oh no!
I felt like, wow, he is paying attention.
Yeah.
Well,
good for you. And I don't know how that'll go down for me in that situation. I don't think my wife and I both are drinkers, but I may dial it down. My son likes beer, and he's 2.
Really?
Can't believe I'm saying this.
Okay.
No, here's what happened. Somebody gave him a taste of it, and he knows what it is, and he likes it. So now we call soda water beer. So we're like, we give him a beer, and he's drinking soda water. But the kid will totally drink a beer, and he's not like Dad. He likes the dark beers. And I'm like, what in the hell? So we'll be somewhere, and my father-in-law, somebody, give him a little sip, and he'll drink, and he's holding on to it. And I'm like, cut.
Well, I don't think that a kid seeing their parent drink a beer now and then is the end of the world.
My parents were non-drinkers, so I was it kept me out of a lot of trouble. My friends were all drinking earlier than I was, so I don't know. It'll be a decision we have to make, what we do in front of them, what we don't. But it is tough because the rock and roll lifestyle, I'm in a different point in that lifestyle now. I mean, you look at what we had to do back in the day,
right?
Because we're close in age, and I don't know. I mean, does Brian Phillips like me? Have you heard?
When we were looking for,
oh my gosh, dude.
Just having fun.
That's what this is about.
Yeah,
and I have gotten. It's funny because when people knew that that I was helping Brian look for his house, I started getting calls from people in radio that I hadn't heard in years.
Hey, Jimmy, you want to get back in radio?
Hey, can you put a good word in for Brian? I'm like, really, dude? I'm just trying to help the guy find a house.
No, you're just his real estate guy. It's funny because he is my boss now, and I just haven't had a chance to meet him. But radio changes. Like, we've got a whole new sound of rock, and it's basically the music. A lot of the music you were playing. We're doing a lot of the 90s, 2000s now, which I'm on board for. Hell, I didn't know who Ghost was until like 3 months ago, and we played them on the air today. And I was like,
were they a band we played? Were they?
They weren't. They're a new band.
Okay.
No, but I'm like trying to get back into that because I was always the rock guy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, damn, man, this is new to me.
Well, classic rock, as you and I know it, is now oldies.
It is, which
right?
is crazy because you would be referring to the 70s.
Yeah, which is like, I love the 70s music.
Yeah,
I love the 70s rock. I like all the stuff from the 70s.
Yeah, because we were like elementary school, and if you had an older brother or the older neighbor, that's what you were hearing. And then, I graduated high school in 83. When did you graduate?
79.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
You look beautiful.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Jimmy.
About to go to my 40th year, my 40th anniversary, high school anniversary or whatever, reunion this year.
And how old were you when you were doing the scenes that we just saw, the 80s movies, like The Sure Thing and Risky Business? Because I remember those movies came out, what, 83?
82, 83.
So you would have already been out of high school.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had already moved out to L.A. I was probably early 20s, 21, 22.
Playing
high school.
Playing high school.
Right.
Which is good. Good to look young.
Well, and I was getting a lot of auditions then, but then as I got older and I started, getting like 25, 26, I was starting to look too old to be a high school kid, but I wasn't young enough looking to play a college kid. And so the auditions started dwindling, and then my interest in acting started kind of fading.
Right. And then that's when later on you would get into radio. So your first radio job in San Diego, just real quickly, how did you land that? How did that even happen?
I had a friend who had referred me to this husband and wife team that did a morning show in San Diego they were like a top 40 thing. The show was horrible, and all they did was fight. I think they may have gotten divorced eventually. But I produced
on air
their show.
too, I bet. On air.
I produced their show for, I forgot how long it was, maybe a year or two. One of the salespeople there was married to a guy who did the morning show at KGB across the street. His name is Dave Rickards. And when our show blew up, she introduced me to her husband, and he hired me. And Dave is still a very dear friend of mine.
Oh, that's great.
One of the most talented guys in radio. They've been on the air for 30 years on rock stations there.
That's a run.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
It's a great run.
Yeah. Lives the kind of life you would want to live in San Diego if you were living there. Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah.
So nice.
Yeah.
Well, we're at the point now in the Yeah Come On Show brought to you by Oxygen Financial. You can go to oxygenfinancial.net. Ask for Ted Jenkin. He is the guy that will help you with your finances. He's a proud sponsor of the show. But right now I want to say it is time for our cigarette break. And, Jimmy, this is where we took the time. We had Brett go out and smoke. And if he hauled ass, really sucked it in to the point he was green, it took him 2 minutes and 55 seconds. A slow smoke was around 5 minutes. So I'm giving you the middle. You got a cigarette break. I want to know what Jimmy Barron's into, how you can be reached, and how people can get a hold of you.
That's very nice. I started working in residential real estate about 7 or 8 years ago. I'm with Keller Williams First Atlanta. We're actually the #1 real estate office, or we're the #1 real estate office in Atlanta in terms of the volume of business that we do. I've been very fortunate there. I work with pretty much an equal number of buyers and sellers, do about 30, 35 transactions a year.
Wow.
And all over the city. And I have a team now. And I've never for a day felt like I was in sales, not once, because I'm not selling a house. I got nothing to sell. I will help people sell, and I'll advise them on how to prep their house, how to price their house, how to market the house. And if someone is looking for a house, I'll honestly advise them on why a house might be good or bad for them. I don't mind telling someone, no, this house stinks. I know you love it, but trust me, you're not going to love it with a train track going through your backyard. Because in 7 years, you're going to try selling this house, and you're not going to be able to.
Yeah.
So even though it doesn't bother you, you don't want this house.
There's some serious cracks in your basement. I just want to let you know.
Well, that's true. That's true. That's true.
There's some foundation issues here.
Right. There are 3 things that kill all deals: foundation, water, and mold.
And bad neighbors.
Well, it's funny you say that. Last week,
let's go walk around and talk to people.
Last week, I was with some clients that were looking at a townhouse in Smyrna, and I happened to know that the townhouse, or I found out after we had seen this townhouse, it was gorgeous, like a $900,000 townhouse, but it turns out that it was right next door to the president of the HOA. Oh. And I was like, you don't want to live. No, you don't want to live next to the president of the HOA.
This person's way into the way the neighborhood should look.
That's right.
And you're right next door.
You don't want that. And you got 2 kids running around, and he's this, this old, crusty curmudgeon. Trust me, your life will be miserable here.
How do people, as far as getting a hold of you, is there an email or a phone number or anything you want to give out?
Sure. I mean, my email is jimmy@jimmybarron.com, 1 R, jimmy@jimmybarron.com, and my phone number is 404-234-2033.
Got that?
And and I meet with people all the time who just want an idea of, what's my house worth now? What could I reasonably expect to get from my house? We're thinking of selling. What kind of improvements? We want to sell the house next year. What should we do to the house to get it ready? Because there's certain things you want to put money into and certain things you shouldn't.
Right, and you're selling downtown and as well as north side? All in those areas?
Most of my business is the north end of town. I mean, anywhere from Buckhead on up. I don't do a ton of in-town business, but I have people on my team who do specialize in downtown and in Gwinnett County and all over. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of having a team, because I'm not an expert in Lawrenceville, but I have somebody who works with me who is.
But you know Milton, you know Johns Creek, you know all of Alpharetta, probably know Cumming and in the Forsyth area and all that.
Yeah, I mean, we
Sandy
do business.
Springs.
We do business all throughout there. Most of my personal business ends up being in Buckhead, Sandy Springs, Brookhaven, Dunwoody, Smyrna, Vinings. But my team covers Forsyth County all over.
So your email is Jimmy.Barron or just Jimmy Barron?
Jimmy@jimmybarron.com.
Jimmy@jimmybarron, that's with 1 R.com.
Yep.
I'm pushing him only because I've talked to several people that have dealt with Jimmy, and fantastic real estate agent. And if you're looking to buy or sell, this is your guy. And also your guy for entertainment. I think you could do radio tomorrow, and this is the part I worry about because I don't want to hurt your career.
Okay, well, you'll be happy to know I have no interest in doing this anymore. I have no interest.
I love it. I want to keep doing it.
It's just because you got to deal with so much crap that we did not have to deal with back there. Brent and I were talking before we started doing this about like all the stuff, and you look at all the stuff when you were doing the regular guys that. There is no chance you could do it today.
We had Topless Interns for 2 years. I don't think you ever even pulled that one.
You didn't do
Topless Interns. We did the Wolf Ball Bat Challenge. We did a lot of stuff that Opie and Anthony were doing. We didn't know Larry was stealing it.
I've got a good one that I want to ask him immediately.
Well, I was about to throw you into your question
So basically,
segment.
I write out a ton of random questions. We've finished on it. I know we're pressed on time, so I'm going to hit you with this immediately. I don't know when you think your career peaked, but I think you peaked when you boxed that woman.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about.
Well, when you say peaked, do you mean jump the shark?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. That's very
remember
possible because that was when I was doing the show with Toucher and Rich
Yes.
and everything. So I probably would.
How did
agree
that
with
even come up? That you were like, I'm going to fight a woman, and you kicked her ass.
I beat her, but just barely. I don't know if I kicked her ass, but I
From the
I
video,
barely beat her.
which I couldn't find anywhere.
There's a video of that?
It was originally on the 99X website. Like I was telling you, I got to school, and me and my brother raced home to watch it online. And we watched it. We were like, oh, my gosh, this is so funny.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find it anywhere.
Right. That's possible that was the beginning of the end. Very possible.
What about when you were shipped in an airplane?
In a UPS box.
UPS box.
Yeah, that bit comes up more than any other bit in my career.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Jimmy was literally shipped in the belly of a plane in a UPS box.
And how you guys had the Topless Interns, they had, and you and I talked about this earlier, the green ass. It was supposed to be like the Tom Green jackass kind of person. And they had like a scavenger hunt where they sent people around the city. And one of the things that people had to do was take a picture with their genitalia on the counter at McDonald's, and guys were actually doing it all over the city. So
I would have done that.
If you were boxing women and having people take pictures of their genitalia on the counter at McDonald's, what kind of ideas did you guys throw out that you turned down? We're like, oh, that's too far.
I don't
Did
know.
anything Did anything ever get turned down? Were you guys like,
I'm sure they did. I don't remember specifically what ideas didn't make the cut. But there were probably a lot. And now, like, here's what's so stupid.
I know
one. You know a bit that didn't make the cut?
No, I know one on me that I will throw out if you throw one out. But I don't want to. I'm not going to use names. But I know one that didn't make it that we were going to do. We were going to put me next to homeless guys with a hidden microphone, and somebody thought it was okay to shoot them with BB guns, and I was going to be there to get their response.
That's assault.
Wow. Wow.
Holy Lord.
That is.
I want to tell you that I spoke up in the meeting. I go, that's against the law.
Yeah.
That guy is no longer in radio. I am. But that was ours. Wow. I didn't know if you had one. Can you believe it? You know the guy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm not surprised it came from him.
No.
Yeah.
But it did.
And I'm actually surprised it never made it to the air because I could see him pushing that through. We did a bit once, and again, it's like a bit that today there's no way you get away with doing, because we had this this intern. His name was Don Shea, black guy.
Don Shea.
I know. I had to clarify that. And but real, like from the inner city, he came up on the bus every day. I have no idea where we found him. He was hysterical.
It's great.
And this was on the Toucher and Rich show. We did a bit where we had him run down Roswell Road with a TV on his shoulder, and we took bets how long it would take for a cop to pull him over. And we actually did that bit. Now, could you see doing that bit in today's environment? Could you would be off the air in 4 seconds doing that bit.
That's great, Jimmy.
Just the premise, yeah.
Yet, but on the other side of the coin, when on 99X we did this bit for concert tickets one year, seemingly innocuous bit. We had 3 blocks of ice, and there were concert tickets embedded in each block of ice, and whichever contestant could melt the block of ice using only body parts down to the tickets first got the tickets. Okay? Fun contest.
It's fun until somebody gets frostbit.
Right. We tried that bit at Dave FM 5 years later, and the lawyer shut it down for that exact reason. Somebody could get frostbite.
No, it's the same thing. We put people in ice water, and you got fools that won't get out.
Right.
And you're like, wait, we got hypothermia going on over here.
So now for sure you can't do that stuff.
What else you got?
Granted, you haven't been on Twitter or at least tweeted since June 24th, 2014 at 1:42 p.m. when you were complaining about the World Cup.
Okay.
I was kind of curious. Why do you follow 1,632 people? Or why do you have 1,632 followers, but you follow 0 people? It's kind of a weird flex that you follow 0 people.
Well, I guess I started. I just started Instagramming literally like 2 months ago because my son got on Instagram, so I figured I better be on there just to kind of see what's going on.
See what he's doing.
Twitter. I opened a Twitter account probably not long before that, and then just kind of got bored of it. So I just don't. I mean, I never look at it.
We were giving you a compliment because at the time I thought only The Rock, and I'm telling you, when I interviewed Dwayne Johnson, this was years ago for The Hero for TNT, he had zero. He was following 0 people. He's the only one I ever knew that did that, other than you. I thought so. When he told me that, I thought it was pretty impressive. I go, Jimmy's following nobody,
0.
Zero.
Because I don't open Twitter app. Like I'm never on it.
But that's a compliment to you that you got 600 people going, who gives a damn? I'll follow him.
I mean, if these are
1,600.
Oh, 1,600.
Are they really?
1,600.
Jimmy,
yeah, but
that's a lot of love, and you're not giving any back.
So you're saying I should probably look
pick-
back
I'm going
into
to tweet
that?
about you being on the show, so if you want to come back with the yak,
You want your
right.
Twitter? You want us to put your Twitter out or your?
I'm going
You
to
can put my-
Instagram.
put my-
I'm gonna tag you in the tweet.
Okay.
What is
then
your
what do I do? What do I?
Just hit retweet.
Then where do we
Just
go?
hit retweet.
I love it.
Okay.
I've got one last question. It's actually kind of a little game, and I want to call it Morning X or TRG. I'm basically going to say something like more loyal, and I'm talking about the fans. And I want you to tell me X or regular guys. So who had, and I'm going to rattle these off real quick. Who had more loyal fans, X or the regular guys?
Regular guys.
More successful.
More successful what?
Who was more successful, Morning X or the regular guys?
Morning X.
All right. And as I knock it away, who had a higher IQ?
Well, you guys had Eric von Hessler.
In self-taught, didn't even pass. He quit
Are you
high
talking about
school.
listeners, though?
No. Hold
Okay.
on. He
Are you
quit.
talking about people on the show?
Yeah, people on the show, fans, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Either way.
But Eric quit high school in 9th grade self-taught. Larry was intelligent. Jimmy's intelligent. I assume Leslie was. I don't know about Barnes.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're average, but
Average.
Eric probably raised your average significantly.
Oh, definitely.
So,
All right.
I'll give you that.
and you know what? And let me also, Larry is an extremely smart guy,
He's a smart
too.
guy.
Very
also.
smart guy.
I'll give him that all day.
Devious.
And we'll just talk about people on the show. We'll go Morning X versus regular guys. Who was better looking?
You talking about Larry?
I'll go
The
Morning
regular
X.
guys?
I'll go Morning
Morning
X.
X more better looking, more likely to live near a trailer park.
You mean of the people on the air?
Yeah.
I don't think. Well, maybe Steve.
Maybe me.
Yeah,
All right, so the regular guys.
So the regular guys, because I can't
Regular
see.
guys.
I can't see. Although I do, I do camp every year in an RV, but I don't know if that.
You're walking the
qualifies.
line,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah,
More likely to have more teeth.
I think we all had teeth.
Yeah.
Man, I don't-
The hell kind of inbred question was that crap?
More likely to be a virgin.
well, I lost my virginity at 21, so it was probably
Yeah, this
me.
guy right here.
I'm a whore. I know, but I'm a whore. But Larry, I think, had only been with 2 people, maybe 3. Eric had only been with 2 or 3.
Well, Leslie, for sure, she's been married for a long time, and she was
1,
squeaky clean.
2.
So, probably the Morning X.
Okay.
All right, and finally, by law, do you believe people should have to wear seatbelts?
Yes.
That was weird.
That was my weird question.
It's always this
Okay.
one out of left
My
field.
last one's always just some whatever.
Okay.
Because I mean, technically, you shouldn't have to get in your car and put on a seatbelt if you don't want to. It's like motorcycle riders with a helmet.
Well, I guess you're being licensed by the state to perform an activity, so they get to call some of the shots, especially when the result of not wearing a seatbelt costs taxpayers money.
Oh no, I get it. I'm on your side.
I guess it would be like this. Should people be required to? I mean, there are housing codes and restaurant codes, right? If a restaurant owner wants to, violate code, shouldn't he be allowed to? Or you live in a house, you're not allowed to do certain things, right? Because it could ultimately cost taxpayers money or be a danger to you yourself.
I'm with you.
Okay.
I think he got you on that.
No, I agree that people should actually have to wear seatbelts, but
And that
or
weird
wear
question.
You're saying they
motorcycles,
shouldn't be.
but Do you think some people don't believe people should have to wear seatbelts?
What just happened to this show?
I have no idea.
Okay.
This is kind of how the show always
This
goes.
is what Brett does, Jimmy. He just
that's
takes
okay.
you. He takes us all someplace where we
Yeah.
shouldn't be. And it's
I mean, I get what
brilliant-
you're saying. Should people be legislated against their own stupidity?
Yeah.
Right? In some cases.
I say once we start to gather together in large numbers, yeah, you just got to
I mean, why don't
protect
you get
people
really-
against
In
themselves.
some cases.
Jimmy, is there heaven?
Yeah.
Let's go real deep
mean-
in the last 5 minutes.
Maybe in some cases.
Jimmy, what is your feeling about homosexuals? I mean, where do we want to take it? Republican or Democrat? No, I thought you did.
Is he really redneck Jesus?
No.
Only
You know
in
who
the
I am?
infield of Atlanta Motor Speedway.
You know who Atlanta Motor Speedway I am, but I am I do say the only thing sacrilegious, I call myself mudslide Jesus, so when I go on vacation I love mudslides. I don't know where your feeling is with that particular drink.
I don't think-
It's kind of along your
that's a drink.
coladas.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's got it's kind of like the chocolate
Wendy's
shake.
Frosty.
Kahlua.
Oh, okay.
Kahlua.
And vodka.
Yeah,
It's like a
yeah.
chocolate shake.
I like that.
Get you drunk.
I like those.
So I knew you would.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, one day we will have mudslides together.
All right.
I want to mudslide
Good.
with you. I will tell you right now
Okay.
that this has been an
Is that
enjoyable.
code for something?
Yeah.
Please don't get sick, people.
Sorry.
I will tell you, this has been a pleasure. In this room right now, Love did walk through the door. Jimmy Barron was a force in this city. It was a pleasure having him on. 99X, what a great job he did. What a fantastic producer he was. He was the man behind everything. He was the guy booking half of those guests, if not 3/4 those guests. So if you enjoyed that decade of music from 99X, this is the guy right here you should love. And if you're looking to buy a house, Jimmy Barron. Jimmy at Jimmy Barron with one R. Dot what?
Com.
Com. Just .com.
How did you not get that?
Shut up. I get what I get. No, but I
When
want to
you're
thank.
getting it?
I get it. I want to thank you for coming on this show, and I would love to have you as a return guest one day.
This has been a scream. I love reminiscing like this.
No, I would love to bring you back on again because there's too many stories. We didn't even get into the stories of the famous people on the show who you booked, things about them. So we would like to have you back on
need a
again.
part
Love to.
I wish you nothing but success. Everyone, Jimmy Barron on the Yet Come On show, brought to you by Oxygen Financial. Thank you, sir.
May I?
Yeah, come on.